Okay, guys, good morning. So I am Mr. Fierro. I am your new teacher for environmental science, and I will be posting classwork. Okay. The first classwork is a project about global warming. Global warming. You guys know anything about global warming? Anything? Anybody?
I know it's not good.
Yeah, I know it's not good. Definitely not good. It's destroying the world. It's making basically global warming. It makes the world is getting hotter. So everything is being disrupted, like weather and environments. Okay. And we're gonna watch three short videos. And they have to do with global warming. The first one is about bees. Bees, how they're being affected by global warming and how uh they help us. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let me know if you can hear it. It's a short video.
Today, it's all about bees. Everyone loves bees, right? Well, not everyone, but most. And there's something comforting about seeing a bee buzz from flower to flower, a feeling that the universe is ticking away nicely in the background. But it's not all sunshine and lollipops, as you may have heard in the news. Bees are in trouble. Across the United States, honeybees are suffering from a mysterious condition known as colony collapse disorder, in which hives are found abandoned. And beyond the honeybee, evidence indicates declines in wild pollinators across both North America and Europe. The reason? Changes in agriculture. Wildflower meadows have been ploughed up, hedges have been ripped out to form bigger fields, pesticide use has massively increased, and humans have been trading bees around the world in tiny little boxes, causing the spread of disease. But why care? So, here, in no particular order, are my top 5 reasons why bees are important. 1. Food. It's not all about honey. Bees, both the wild ones and the ones we keep at caves, are critical for pollinating plants that produce a huge range of food, including blueberries, almonds, and beans. The global value of insect pollination is estimated at 153 billion euros every year. And while this figure includes contributions from, say, butterflies and beetles, most of the work is done by the bees. Still don't care? Commercially reared bumblebees are important pollinators of tomato plants. If the bees die out, these plants will have to be pollinated by hand using little vibrating wands, which is less fun than it sounds, and more expensive.
So guys, no beans, no frijoles, no tomatoes, no pizza, no ketchup without bees, no almonds, no blueberries, and there's more foods that bees create. So if bees were to die out because of climate change, uh we will be in trouble.
Tomato growing could become unproductive. No tomatoes means no pizza, and a world without pizza is a sad and lonely place indeed. 2. Biodiversity. Numerous creatures rely on bees for their own existence. Badgers will dig out the nest to feast on the juicy grubs. Bee eaters consume, well, you can probably guess what they consume. And a whole host of other creatures prey on or parasitize upon the bees, including the endangered oil beetle. Numerous wildflowers depend on bees for pollination. Take away the bees, and there will be drastic consequences for both the plants and the animals that depend on them. The world will become a less colourful, less interesting place.
So number 2, biodiversity. There will be less types of flowers. And a lot of insects and creatures depend on them. They rely on bees. So without bees, there won't be a lot of flowers, a lot of insects, and wildlife will be affected too.
3. Bees fight crime. Not a joke. Bees have an excellent sense of smell, and in 2008, scientists developed a detector, essentially a box of bees trained to stick out their tongue if they caught a whiff of something dodgy, like explosives. An infrared sensor registers the movement in the bees' tongues and alerts security staff to the presence of danger. 4. Bees are watchdogs for environmental change. Or watch bees, if you're being picky. And speaking of picky, numerous bee species have extremely precise habitat requirements. And if that habitat undergoes a change, their populations will respond quickly. Now, this makes bees potentially good indicators of environmental disturbance, including climate change. One recent example is the arrival of the tree bumblebee in the UK in 2001 from France. The species has now spread to cover over half the country, but fortunately, it's not likely to have any negative impacts on native UK bees. 5. Ecosystem services. These are services to which bees contribute that go beyond just pollinating our food plants. Remember the wild plants pollinated by bees? Well, some of them will grow big and strong and soak up carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, a process known as carbon sequestration, potentially offsetting human-caused emissions. Their roots might bind the soil together, preventing erosion, and slow the seepage of water through the ground, helping to minimize floods. At present, no one's calculated the value of all these services, currently being provided for free, but as anyone who's ever stared through the window of a super expensive shop will know, just because there's no price tag doesn't mean something isn't extremely valuable. So, bees provide us with food, help maintain biodiversity, fight crime, act as indicators of environmental change, and contribute to a whole load of ecosystem services.
Okay, so I'm gonna repeat what he says. So because of bees, we have lots of foods like beans, berries, almonds, no frijoles, no beans without bees. Sin las abejas no hay frijoles. Or tomates or tomatoes. They also their biodiversity. So there won't be a lot of flowers, there won't be a lot of insects that rely on them. Las abejas ayudan a las flores, a crecer flores y los animales. Muchos animales los ocupan, las abejas. Also weather change. So they're talking about weather change. Basically, they're delicate. They need certain temperature to live there. If it's too hot or too cold, they won't live there. So las abejas ocupan si está la temperatura correcta. Si está muy caliente o muy frío, se van. Okay? So global warming will cause bees to leave and you won't be able to have a lot of food. So si se calienta el mundo, las abejas se pueden ir, se pueden morir y no va a haber comida o cosas así, o flores. Okay? So very interesting. So bees are very important. So a lot of people are scared of bees. Muchas personas le tienen miedo a las abejas because they sting, te pican. Pero son muy importantes. They're very important. Okay. So that can also be a topic for your project. Este puede ser un tema de tu proyecto. But hay muchos que escoger. There's so many to pick from. Okay. So now I'm going to show you a 3-minute video. It's very short, guys, very short. So let's pay attention. This global warming, look, smoke. Pay attention, please. Okay.
Activities from pollution to Human activities from pollution to overpopulation are driving up the Earth's temperature and fundamentally changing the world around us. The main cause is a phenomenon known as the greenhouse effect. Gases in the atmosphere, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and chlorofluorocarbons, let the sun's light in, but keep some of the heat.
So this is the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect. Okay. So chemicals like water vapors and carbon dioxide is like smoke, humo de los carros, or factories. Muchos químicos, many chemicals get trapped in the world, in the atmosphere, and the sun shoots heat, avienta calor al mundo. So the sun will reflect inside here, and all these chemicals make it hotter. Like all these chemicals don't let the heat out. Estos químicos no dejan que el caliente del sol se salgan del mundo, y el mundo se pone más caliente. The world gets hotter.
Heat from escaping, like the glass walls of a greenhouse. The more greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the more heat gets trapped, strengthening the greenhouse effect and increasing the Earth's temperature. Human activities, like the burning of fossil fuels, have increased the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere by more than a third since the Industrial Revolution. The rapid increase in greenhouse gases in the atmosphere has warmed the planet at an alarming rate. While Earth's climate has fluctuated in the past, atmospheric carbon dioxide hasn't reached today's levels in hundreds of thousands.
So carbon dioxide, CO2. Carbon dioxide is waste, like car smoke. That's carbon dioxide. So it hasn't been as high as now because there's so many factories, cars. So hay un químico que avienta los carros o el humo de los factories. ¿Cómo se dice eso? Mucho humo hace que no ha estado tan alto como estos últimos años.
Thousands of years. Climate change has consequences for our oceans, our weather, our food sources, and our health.
So climate change, guys, it affects our, like she says, our oceans, our weather, our food, like the bees. Without bees, there will be no food. And our health. She's going to talk about the health. Like, look at all this smoke. Look at all this smoke.
Ice sheets, such as Greenland and Antarctica, are melting. The extra water that was once held in glaciers causes sea levels to rise and spills out of the oceans, flooding coastal regions. Warmer temperatures also make weather more extreme. This means not only more intense major storms, floods, and heavy snowfall, but also longer and more frequent droughts. These changes in weather pose challenges. Growing crops becomes more difficult. The areas where plants and animals can live shift, and water supplies are diminished. In addition to creating new agricultural challenges, climate change can directly affect people's physical health. In urban areas, the warmer atmosphere creates an environment that traps and increases the amount of smog. This is because smog contains ozone particles, which increase rapidly at higher temperatures. Exposure to higher levels of smog can cause health problems such as asthma, heart disease, and lung cancer. While the rapid rate of climate change is caused by humans, humans are also the ones who can combat it. If we work to replace fossil fuels with renewable energy sources like solar and wind, which don't produce greenhouse gas emissions, we might still be able to prevent some of the worst effects of climate change.
Okay, guys. So climate change is a big deal. It's a big deal. It can just if it continues for a couple years, for more like 100 years, this world is dying. El mundo se está muriendo porque el clima se está cambiando, se está poniendo el mundo más caliente. So dijeron que la salud, la temperatura, más lluvias, menos lluvias. Okay. So it's very, very, we need to be careful with global warming. But what can we do to help it? What can we do, guys? Do you guys know what we can do to help?
Like we could use solar energy.
Solar energy, yes, like solar panels. So more solar energy means, so basically energy comes from either a power plant factory, and they may use fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are like gasoline, okay? Or other things that are not good for so yeah, solar energy. So como decía en español, uh, paneles solares, uh, eso pueden ayudar. Okay. So this is something else that you guys can do for your project. Okay. And finally, the last video, this one, they actually talk about what we can do to help. Este video los va a enseñar cómo podemos ayudar. Okay. It's the last video, guys. It's short.
Climate change is just too much. There's never any good news, only graphs that get more and more red and angry. Almost every year breaks some horrible record, from the harshest heat waves to the most rapid glacier melt. It's endless and relentless. We've known for decades that rapid climate change is being caused by the release of greenhouse gases. But instead of reducing them, in 2019 the world was emitting 50% more CO2 than in the year 2000. And emissions are still rising. Why is that? Why is it so hard to just stop emitting these gases? Our collective CO2 emissions can be expressed as a product of four factors and their relationship with each other. Two of them explain why worldwide CO2 emissions are still rising, and two explain how we can stop that. Population size, economic growth, energy intensity, and emissions per energy.
Okay, so in this video, they're going to talk about population size. It's growing and it's becoming a big problem, the population. Why do you guys think the world defends itself with the virus? So every 100 years, 1720, 1820, 1920, and 2020, there's been diseases. But I feel like the world is trying to defend itself. It's like, okay, there's too many people. We got to get some people out. And because there's more people, more cars, more factories, more houses. So la población de las personas está creciendo. Y el virus pasa cada 100 años y el mundo se está defendiendo porque entre más personas hay más carros y más crecimiento de la polución.
Unit produced. Number 1, population size. People need food, homes, and clothing, and they demand luxury products from iPhones to $1 cheeseburgers. More people, higher CO2 emissions. It's a very simple equation. The global population is growing, and according to the UN, it will level off at about 11 billion in 2100, which is 40% more than today. The only way to slow down this growth is investment in healthcare and access to contraception and education in developing countries.
Okay, guys. So they said that to help population growth, healthcare, contraception, and education. So contraception, too many people are having too many babies. Like every family has like 10 kids. Like even my house, we have like in my house, there's like 15 people in my house. And basically parents are like, oh, you need to have a kid already. You need to have a kid. But the truth is we need to slow down. Don't have too many kids. So, en español. So, muchas personas tienen muchos babies y es un problema. Está creciendo la población con muchos babies y las personas tienen que aprender a no tener tantos babies. En mi casa hay 15 personas y nomás en mi casa. Cada de ustedes tienen también muchas personas. Education. So, if more people are educated, we can learn how to create a better world. Con la educación, las personas pueden entender cómo hacer el mundo mejor. Okay? Like solar panels, como solares, paneles solares.
But even with massive investment, it will take a few decades for the effects of lower birth rates to manifest themselves. So the global population will keep growing for the foreseeable future, and as a consequence, global CO2 emissions will rise over the next few decades. Number 2, growth or getting richer. But it's not just about our numbers. The richer and more developed we are, the more emissions our lifestyle produces.
Look, guys. So back in the day, only farmers. Not too much smoke, right? Not too a lot of CO2 release. And then we got a little smarter. People needed to buy books. People started reading. Technology, a little more. Every single TV or computer that you use, a factory makes it. Now cars. So more cars, more technology. So antes había pura agricultura. Casi no había humo. Y la gente se hizo más inteligente. Libros, tecnologías, tiene que ser construida. Y carros. Más cosas.
Produces. A programmer in the US has a higher CO2 footprint than 50 farmers in Uganda. The world's wealth is growing almost everywhere. And although it's far from evenly distributed, economic growth has led to the highest standards of living and the largest reduction in extreme poverty in human history. Growth has become the dominant mantra of the world's economies, no matter what kind of political system they have. It's unlikely that rich countries will give up the concept of growth anytime soon. But even if they were to, developing countries want to become rich too. For billions of people, the end of growth would probably mean staying poor, and so developing countries are not willing to stop growing their economies. All in all, we can be sure that growth as a guiding economic ideology is not going to go away anytime soon. More countries and their citizens around the world will grow and become richer, while the rich economies will continue to grow their wealth. There are some signs that growth can be decoupled from CO2 emissions, but we're not close to that yet. As a consequence of this growth, CO2 emissions will rise. Okay, so far we've learned that because of population growth and economic growth, humanity's CO2 emissions will increase, which is the opposite of what should be happening. We need to slow, peak, and then reduce annual emissions. The next two factors describe how we can actually do this. Number 3, energy intensity. Energy intensity describes how efficiently we use energy. A street food vendor in rural Brazil might burn coal to cook, while a street food vendor in France might use an induction stove powered by nuclear.
So guys, barbecues cause pollution, the smoke. But an electric stove that uses new technology doesn't release any smoke to the air. So, continue.
Energy. The latter is way more efficient. The more efficient something is, the less energy we need to do something, be it powering a metropolitan area or grilling a kebab. So making our technology more efficient and coming up with more efficient ways to organize our societies is one of the most important ways to reduce the modern world's CO2 dependency. This can mean everything from reducing power consumption with AI, the electrification of the transportation and industrial sectors, or sustainable concrete production. The opportunities for improvement are almost limitless, and human ingenuity can run wild. But we know that increasing efficiency alone will not be enough, mostly for 3 reasons. 1. Direct rebound effects. This means that once something becomes more efficient, it's used more, and so overall the increased efficiency does not lead to a reduction as impressive as you would first think. Or worse, sometimes more efficiency makes humans not use less of a resource, but more of it.
Guys, plastic is killing the world. El plástico está matando el mundo. You can't really destroy plastic. No puedes destruir el plástico. If you burn it, it turns into pollution. So you really can't destroy plastic. So that's another issue about global warming and pollution, okay?
When planes became more fuel efficient, ticket prices decreased and more people started to travel by plane. So making things more efficient does not automatically mean less energy use in total. It might have the opposite effect. 2. Indirect rebound effects. Sometimes when you save money on a thing that's become more efficient, you might spend it elsewhere. For example, if you buy a more fuel-efficient car, you save money on fuel and end up with extra funds in your bank account that you might spend on a vacation and take a flight with. So, in the end, you might actually emit more CO2 despite getting a more efficient car. 3. And lastly, the more you optimize for efficiency, the harder and more expensive it becomes to get more efficient. So over time, the return on investment slows down. And with many technologies, we are already pretty efficient. But regardless of how efficient we make our economies, as long as we need at least some energy, we will have emissions. Efficiency alone won't create a zero-carbon world. This brings us to our last factor. Number 4, CO2 emissions per energy unit used, or our global carbon footprint. Humanity's global carbon footprint is the CO2 released per energy unit generated. For example, coal plants release much more CO2 than solar power per unit of energy. This relationship is crystal clear. The more fossil fuels we burn, the higher our CO2 output. Fossil fuels are the greatest lever humanity has right now. Of course, it's impossible to shut down coal and oil overnight without throwing society into chaos. But the reality is that we're not doing nearly enough to keep fossil fuels in the ground and use lower carbon alternatives. We need to do 2 things to speed the transition away from fossil fuels. First, we need to use the real leverage we have today with today's technology. There are a lot of things we can do extremely quickly. We can leave nuclear power plants online longer. We can cut subsidies to the fossil fuel industry and funnel them into renewables. We can price carbon emissions harshly and increase the price each year to create strong incentives for the world's industries to transition. We can enforce strict standards for energy efficiency and for any type of new construction. We can phase out fossil fuel vehicles. Next, we also need to invent new and better technology. Without new technologies and innovation, it will be impossible to achieve a zero CO2 emission world, be it from technologies like carbon capture or a new generation of nuclear power plants to new batteries that revolutionize the energy storage from renewables. But innovation takes time, years and decades, and we don't have this time. Every year we keep adding more carbon to the atmosphere. This means we can't keep relying on innovation alone. We need to find ways to reduce emissions today while we invent what we will need in the future. The less fossil fuel we burn over the next few years, the more time we give innovation to catch up. The more low-carbon energy infrastructure we build today, the more we can compensate for economic growth and the people born today. The more coal power plants in construction we stop from being finished, the more CO2 we save. Neither innovation nor the alternatives we're using today alone can solve rapid climate change. But innovation, together with a decisive move away from fossil fuels where it's possible today, could do it. Solving climate change will be complicated. We have to account for the needs of billions of people and the reality that right now, society runs mostly on fossil fuels. This will not change overnight, but it needs to change as quickly as possible. And it is still very much possible. We'll look at different aspects.
Okay, guys. So they said a couple solutions. Did you get some solutions of how we can stop global warming? One of the solutions is to invent new technology. Invent technology to for energy and stop burning coal, stop burning gasoline like fossil fuels. So el video dijo muchos para ayudar el mundo que se está calentando. Y uno de esos problemas soluciones es inventar tecnología para poder hacer energía más saludable y dejar de quemar carbón de gasolina. Okay. So also windmills, solar panels, also making things like gasoline more expensive. So if you make gasoline more expensive and then you put out solar panel cars, it will help the environment. Si hacen la gasolina más cara y ponen carros que tienen paneles solares, es más saludable. So they said a lot of solutions here. Okay, guys. Okay, so our project. Let me show you the project. Hold on. Let me show you the project. New share. Okay. So our project, we're going to create an artwork about global warming. You can talk about what is it, like problems or solutions. Like you can maybe draw solar panels or windmills. So nuestro proyecto es arte, hacer un arte de el calentamiento del mundo. Y puedes hacerlo, dibujar los problemas, like the problems, los problemas, o los resultados, o cómo puedes ayudar, how you can help it. So this person drew the ocean. Okay. So let me show you some more examples. So this is a bit professional, but I'm just showing you like climate change. Look, it affects climate change. It's like a little comic, little cartoon. Tidal waves, heat, tornadoes, and so I'm posting it. So your new assignment is global warming. We are going to create an artwork about global warming. It can be about what is it, the effects, or how you can stop it, like the solutions. If you don't have art materials, you may do it on Google Slides. And I'm gonna show you right now how to do it on Google Slides, okay? And at the end, I want a reflection. Like, why did you do that? Why? What's the reason? En español. So vamos a hacer el proyecto, les repito, de un arte, de por qué y cómo podemos, o cómo podemos parar el calentamiento del mundo, que es muy importante. Lo puedes hacer en Google Slides. Ahorita te voy a enseñar cómo hacerlo. Some examples, bees, carbon dioxide, greenhouse effects, deforestation. That's another one. When you remove all the trees from forests to make furniture. Pollution, factories, cars, trash, the ozone layer, the ice caps are melting. They talked about that. So aquí tengo muchos ejemplos de las abejas, de polución, cuando destruyen selvas para hacer mesas, madera. Okay. All right, guys. So let me show you guys how, if you don't have art materials, you can do it with art materials. It's funner, but I'll also show you for Google Slides right now. Let me pull that up. New share. Google Slides. So all of you guys should have Google Slides. Todos tienen que tener Google Slides. Google Slides. Okay. Pongan atención. Pay attention, please. This is how you do a Google Slide. If you don't have art materials, this is for you. Or you just want to do it digitally, it's your choice. Maybe you do have art materials, but you just want to do it digitally. It's fine. Okay, so first on Google Slides, you're going to add a background. I don't want a white background, okay? I want a background. So you're going to choose an image. You can either choose one from your laptop, computer, or you can Google image search one, okay? So let me search galaxy. I want to put a world, okay? So we got a lot of pictures here, and I choose one. Which one do you like best? Something with color. No. I'm gonna choose this one. It's simple. Insert. Done. Boom. So that's my background. Now I can add pictures on tops and writing, everything I want. So what do I want to do this one on? I want to put the world. And so, there's so many topics, guys. Endless topics about global warming. Hay muchos estos temas de global warming, okay? So ya ahora puse el background. I'm going to add image. So I'm going to insert an image and search the web. Okay, I'm going to search the web. So now I want a world. But if you put a world by itself, you're going to get like, look, a bunch of pictures like this. So what you want to do now is write the word PNG. PNG. That's like a transparent, that's a magic word. PNG. PNG. Te ayuda. So now you get invisible. Oops, I deleted it. Hold on. Image, up, search the web. There it goes. So now I can choose a world that has a transparent background. Let's see, which one should I choose? I want something cartoony. Let's go with a simple one, a cartoon one that you can see it. Insert. See, now it's transparent. Now you can add the world. So now you can make it lower, you can make it bigger, smaller. And you can change the color. Look, I right-clicked it with my mouse and I'm gonna put format option, okay? Format option. Now I can recolor it, adjust it. I can change the colors, maybe adjust it, maybe more brighter. What if it was too dark or too bright? Okay, I'm just showing you guys. Okay, so now I can add more pictures. So what about this world? Let's put, I want to put some bees, maybe some factories. Let's see, insert, image, search the web, keep the PNG. How about factory? No, how about factory smoke? Okay, some stuff. I mean, these are pictures that I could have added to the background instead. Let's do the one I did yesterday. Bees. A bee. So yesterday I did one with the other class and I did one with a bee. Let's see. Let me find a bee. And remember, I still have that word PNG, PNG. Insert. Oh no, it has a white background. I don't like it. Sometimes you get pictures you don't want. So again, bees. You guys want to give me an idea? Maybe something else I can add? I'm just gonna add a random bee. Hopefully it has a transparent. Okay, this one has transparent. Okay. So I added a bee. And maybe you want a bubble, a say bubble. Insert, image, search the web. How about say or think bubble? Okay.
Speech bubble.
A speech bubble, yeah. A speech, thank you. Well, I got the say bubble too, but like, yeah, speech bubble. Or you can say a think bubble. Insert. Oh no, it doesn't have a white background, so it's too transparent. So I'm gonna get another one. Search the web. I'm sorry?
¿Puedes poner el trabajo en la clase de Godines para ponerlo, para hacerlo con Google Drive? Esa madre.
Yo voy a poner el proyecto ahorita, ya que acabe de,
Ok,
¿ok?
gracias. Thank you.
Pero nomás estoy enseñando cómo hacerlo en ups, no, todavía no está bien ese. Lo estoy enseñando cómo hacerlo aquí y ahorita lo voy a poner, ¿ok?
Sí, muchísimas gracias.
Ya. Nomás estoy buscando. Okay, that one. I like that one. Help. Or I could have put another one and I could have insert look, text box. You add a text box and then you can add words. So the bees are asking for help. Okay, I highlight it and now I can change the color. I can make it bigger. I can make it bigger. Lo puedo hacer más grande. I can change the bold. I can do so much. So play around with this, guys. The bees are asking for help. Help. So you see? So, and then, or you be more creative. There's so much you can do. There's so many topics. Hay muchos que puedes hacer, de los que puedes hacer. Like, I'm gonna show you the ones I did yesterday. Where's my Google Classroom? Hold on, guys. Oh, this is the one I did yesterday with the other class. So it's kind of similar. So look at that world. I changed the color of the world de cambié el color del mundo by right-clicking it and putting format option. And then I can recolor. Look, you can change the color. Okay. You can just play around. Jueguen con eso. También hice uno del Titanic que se está hundiendo y hay lumbre en la nieve. There's fire in the ice because it's melting. It's just to be fun, just to be. And look at this. I was gonna do flowers in here, like beauty to disgusting. So I added a trash. So you can add pictures, again, invisible pictures by putting the word PNG. Pueden poner fotos que están, no tiene atrás nada, poniéndole PNG. Okay. Flower. Okay. No, garden. Oh, está ya. insert. Oh no, stop. It's white. It's white. I don't like it. Sometimes you'll get them, sometimes you won't. How about this one? Please let it be it. Yeah, it worked. Sí sirvió. So I'm gonna put some flowers here and trash in the back. Okay. You can change the color. Voy a cambiar el color para ponerle format option. Okay. So I can recolor, change make it lighter, darker, shadow, sombra, maybe shadow on this one. Let's do that one. Okay, I'm gonna format option. Y le voy a poner sombra. I'm gonna put shadow. Mira, I put sombra. I put shadow. You guys see that? I put shadow and it looks more realistic now. So play with this. Jueguen con todo esto. En Google Slides. Okay? Okay. ¿Tienen preguntas? Do you have questions? ¿Preguntas? I'm going to post the work in your Google Classroom, okay, guys? And I'm gonna post some videos too, just so you can help. Search more, do some research. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm gonna take attendance for those that came in when I was doing the videos. Hold on, guys. I'm having trouble.